Hello, welcome to Reach for Healing. I'm Rebecca Harmon, and we're on day 9 of our 40-day abundance journey based on the Abundance book written by John Randolph Price. Statement number 9 is a longer statement compared to the other ones that we've journaled. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get right on that. Statement 9 is as follows. When I am aware of the God self within me as my total fulfillment, I am totally fulfilled. I am now aware of this truth. I have found the secret of life, and I relax in the knowledge that the activity of divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creative energy, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. Wayne Dyer often taught in his life, especially toward the latter years of his teaching, he taught about walking an inspired life or walking in spirit. And he shared many stories about how things that he needed would just show up without him looking for them or seeking them out. And when you first hear that, if you're first exposed to metaphysical spirituality, that can seem a little woo-woo and out there. But I'm going to share a story with you of how that happened for me in a very ordinary way. I have been a college educator for more than 20 years. I've taught at the university, at the private college, and at the community college level. I still teach as an adjunct for a number of institutions on occasion, and I do a lot of work with our local community college. And a couple years ago, the community college reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in teaching in their community education division. Apparently, they had had a class schedule that had students registered, and the instructor who had been assigned to teach it was unable to. And so at the very last minute, they needed an instructor. I said yes, and I sat down to sketch out the information that I would need to prepare in order to present a quality class to my students. Well, as life would have it, as things happen, I found myself in the midst of a very busy week, and I was hitting roadblock after roadblock. And I was trying really hard to get all this organized, and the time before I had to show up and stand in front of that class was getting shorter and shorter. And most of my expertise in academia is actually teaching what we would call traditional students, those students 18 through 24 in undergraduate and graduate classes. This particular course was for adult learners. And so I was very aware of the fact that I couldn't shoot from the hip, that I needed to be very intentional, and I wanted to provide good quality for the tuition that they had paid for this class. The more I struggled and strained, the less success I had. And then finally, I remembered these teachings. I remembered the wisdom that I had been studying all these years, and I let it go. And I became aware, as that statement number 9 tells us. I remembered the knowledge, and I got myself back into alignment with the awareness that the divine consciousness is always expressing. And when I let go of that and I relaxed into it, what happened is the very next time I went out to search for some resources, I found a very rich and robust resource that I have now been using for 2 years when I teach adults how to use computers. It was as if all of a sudden that website was made available to me. This is the kind of experience that Wayne Dyer talked about and taught, as well as many other teachers, about the things that show up for us as the divine consciousness expresses in, as, and through us as part of everyday life. It's very rarely the big wins and the exciting discoveries. It's the simple things that makes life a lot easier on a regular day that show up over and over when we've put our foot on the spiritual path. Louise Hay called them the green lights and the parking places. It doesn't matter what you call them. The truth of the matter is, when they show up, it's always a welcome sight. And so as we come close to the end of our first 10-day stretch in journaling on our 40-day abundance journey, I hope that you will look out for those small wins, open doors, green lights, and parking places. And I hope you'll stop back tomorrow for our first day 10 journal. Until then, take care.